Welcome to our series of short videos designed to help directly authorised firms understand the products and services that are available to them in the marketplace, but specifically through Paradigm. Today we're concentrating on compliance, and I'm joined by my colleague Graeme Stewart, principally to talk about the looming SM&CR. So Graeme, to start with, can you give us a high-level view of SM&CR?
Sure. It is looming, yeah. So it's the 9th of December it starts. High-level view, there's really three component parts to the SM&CR. At the highest level is the senior manager regime. Middle level is the certification regime, and I suppose at the lower level is the code of conduct rules. Depending on your situation within the firm, you may be subject to one, two, or all three levels. So at the highest level, the senior managers, this is affecting those people who currently hold a CF or control function position. So CF1, CF4, CF10 compliance, or CF11 money laundering. And what will happen on the 9th is that these control functions will be converted into SMF functions. So for example, a CF11 money laundering will convert over to the SMF17 money laundering position. The next layer down really is the certification regime. Now the certification regime is designed to encompass anybody who has a position where, if done badly, it could cause harm either to the clients of the firm itself, or indeed the industry as a whole. And then the lowest level, that's not to say it's the least important, is the code of conduct rules. So to give you some example then, if you were a business owner, you were a CF1 partner or director, you would be in the top regime. You would fall under the senior manager's certification regime. If you were also an advisor, or you were a supervisor of an advisor, you would fall under the certification regime, and then also you would fall under the code of conduct rules. If you were a mortgage advisor or perhaps an investment advisor, you wouldn't fall under the senior managers, but you would fall under the certification and the code of conduct rules. And then for all other staff within the business, with the exception of people such as IT, accountants perhaps, paraplanners, etc. All of these other members of staff would all fall under the code of conduct rules.
Okay, that's a good high-level view. What is it actually designed to achieve?
Okay, so the background really was to bring out individual accountability. After the banking crisis, the regulator found it very hard to actually hold anyone to account for what had happened in the banking area. So overall, it's individual accountability. That really is wrapped around culture. The FCA want to get away from making rules and have firms with a very strong culture from all members of staff all the way through, driven by the senior managers down into the business, of doing the right thing. And the FCA have made quite a big play on the fact that they're not going to continue to make more rules to follow. In fact, quite the opposite. They want firms to take the initiative and in any circumstance really to do the right thing for the customer in the absence of any rules, or despite there being any rules. So culture, individual accountability, and I guess transparency as well. From the banking industry, it wasn't always clear who was doing what to whom and when and how or why. So transparency right across, so very clear reporting lines, people being in a position that they fully understand what the role is, what it isn't, what they are allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do.
So bringing it down a level, what practical steps must a firm take to comply with the rules? Okay.
So practically speaking, there are a number of things that need to be done. There's still plenty of time to get these organised and get them done. At the top level then, the senior managers will all be subject to writing a statement of responsibility. There's a large number of rules around what that should look like, but basically it's in their own words, less than 600 words, not referring to any other document, not referring to their knowledge or experience or their history or anything like that. It's basically a series of short, sharp sentences. I am taking responsibility for X, Y, and Z. Depending on the type of firm that you are, there might be some prescribed responsibilities. So these are responsibilities the FCA say the firm must take. If you had 5 directors, some could take some of them, one could take all of them, it doesn't really matter, but they are prescribed. Statement of responsibility also comes along with the duty of responsibility, so it's incumbent upon people to know exactly what that looks like. So that's at the highest level. The certification level, those people who could do damage, or those people who are supervising people such as mortgage advisors, will come under the certification regime. So before the 8th of December 2020, the practical steps really are to issue a certificate. That certificate will encompass their fit and properness, but also it will take account of their skills and competence to undertake the role that they perform. And at the lowest level, the Code of Conduct rules, they will start, and all staff will be subject to abiding by the conduct rules. Practically before the 9th of December then, the business owners should arrange training, at least for the senior managers and the certification staff, to abide by the Code of Conduct rules. And then from the 9th of December, 12 months forward, all other members of staff should be trained to abide by the Code of Conduct rules, and obviously by that time issue a certificate for those in the certification regime.
So Graeme, that's really interesting. So how can Paradigm Consulting help those firms in ensuring that they comply with those rules?
Well, we've been talking about the senior managers now since April 2016, so it seems like a never-ending story, really. But over that time, really, what we've been trying to do is to take the fairly large, if you were to pile them up on a desk, rules, and really issue them in short, sharp bulletins, step by step, so we can start with no knowledge and take you all the way through to becoming an expert, depending on where you want to go. Practically speaking, using the templates and guidance from the FCA, so they could go down into our website, they could download some examples of statement of responsibilities, depending on whether you're a core firm, an enhanced firm, limited scope firm. Get the relevant one, they could use that as a template and top and tail it for their own purposes. We have a series of training slides for the business owners to use to train members of staff to abide by the Code of Conduct rules. One of the areas that the banking industry was criticised by the FCA when they introduced it back in 2017, the FCA thought that the bankers had looked after themselves in terms of the senior manager's certification, but they hadn't trained it right down into the business. So to make it alive and real for all members of staff, we've got slide presentations, multiple choice questions, but we've also developed a couple of easy case studies, trying to bring it to life so that people, whatever role they are in their business, they can see how these Code of Conduct rules are fairly simple to follow, easy to understand, but how they're actually applied in their day-to-day. And then for the middle layer, where I'd see most of the work being undertaken through the training and competence scheme that a firm will have in place, we've updated our training and competence scheme, again a good template for you to have. We've written our certification procedures just as a bolt-on document, so you can cut and paste it and put it into your T&C scheme if you want. That would seem logical, or you could have it as a separate process. And we've even gone down to the level where we've actually developed quite a nice certificate itself.
So, sort of in a broader sense, moving away from SM&CR, how do you feel Paradigm Consulting can help a firm in its general day-to-day compliance needs?
Its day-to-day needs, I mean, I think what I'd like to give to any customer really is peace of mind. So if they have a visit with us, we go through everything we believe the FCA would expect them to have in place, pick it up, shake it about, see if it's robust. We try and do that once a year for all of our firms. Practically speaking, we can take some of the burden away from them. So we have some firms that will simply send in a file every now and again. Perhaps it's a replacement case seen as high risk. Perhaps it's from a new advisor who they haven't had time to perhaps supervise all the files. We help out a lot of firms with their T&C. We do one-to-one meetings, etc. Just take away some of the donkey work. Same as a file review, as part of their T&C work, we can do the 10% or pre-sale checks for higher risk cases. But I think it's just giving peace of mind to firms that if they were to be visited by the FCA, or that would be part of a thematic review, they would have a very good foundation set in all that we do.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Graeme. It's great to have a high-level view of SM&CR, but also that broader sort of understanding of how Paradigm Consulting can work with these firms, and if there are any firms out there clearly who want to speak to us, I'm sure that you and your team are always available to have those discussions.
Always here to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.